Catalan is a Romance language named for its origins in Catalonia, in what is northeastern Spain and adjoining parts of France. It is the national and only official language of Andorra, and a co-official language of the Spanish autonomous communities of Catalonia, the Balearic Islands, and the Valencian Community. It also has semi-official status in the city of Alghero on the Italian island of Sardinia. It is also spoken with no official recognition in parts of the Spanish autonomous communities of Aragon and Murcia, and in the historic French region of Roussillon, northern Catalonia, roughly equivalent to the department of Pyrénées copyright now Pyrénées-Orientales. According to the Statistical Institute of Catalonia in 2008, the Catalan language is the second most commonly used in Catalonia, after Spanish, as a native or self-defining language. The Generalitat of Catalonia spends part of its annual budget on the promotion of the use of Catalan in Catalonia and in other territories. Catalan evolved from Common Latin around the Eastern Pyrenees in the 9th century. During the Low Middle Ages it saw a golden age as the literary and dominant language of the Crown of Aragon, and was widely used all over the Mediterranean. The union of Aragon with the other territories of Spain in 1479 marked the start of the decline of the language. In 1659 Spain ceded northern Catalonia to France, and Catalan was banned in both states in the early 18th century. 19th century Spain saw a Catalan literary revival, which culminated in the 1913 orthographic standardization, and the officialization of the language during the Second Spanish Republic. However, the Francoist dictatorship banned the language again. Since the Spanish transition to democracy, Catalan has been recognized as an official language, language of education, and language of mass media, all of which have contributed to its increased prestige. There is no parallel in Europe of such a large, bilingual, non-state speech community. Compared to other Romance languages, Catalan dialects feature relative uniformity, and are mutually intelligible. They are divided into two blocks, Eastern and Western, differing mostly in pronunciation. The terms Catalan and Valencian are two names for the same language. Standard Catalan, a variety accepted by virtually all speakers, is regulated by the Institute of Catalan Studies. Catalan shares many traits with its neighboring Romance languages. However, despite being mostly situated in the Iberian Peninsula, Catalan shows greater differences with Ibero-Romance in terms of vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar than it does with Gallo-Romance. These similarities are most notable with Occitan. Catalan has an inflectional grammar, with two genders, and two numbers. Pronouns are also inflected for case, animacy and politeness, and can be combined in very complex ways. Verbs are split in several paradigms and are inflected for person, number, tense, aspect, mood, and gender. In terms of pronunciation, Catalan has many words ending in a wide variety of consonants and some consonant clusters, in contrast with many other Romance languages. Etymology and pronunciation. The word Catalan derives from the territory of Catalonia, itself of disputed etymology. The main theory suggests that Catalonia derives from the name Gothia or Gorthia, since the origins of the Catalan counts, lords and people were found in the March of Gothia, whence Gothland, Gothlandia, Gothalania, Catalonia theoretically derived. In English, the term referring to a person first appears in mid-14th century as ๊kætəlæn, followed in the 15th century as catalane. It is first attested a language name by 1792. The term Catalonian is first attested in 1707. Catalan can be pronounced as, or. The endonym is pronounced in the Eastern Catalan dialects, and in the Western dialects. In the Valencian community, the term Valencia is frequently used instead. The names Catalan and Valencian are two names for the same language. See also status of Valencian below. History. Middle Ages. By the 9th century, Catalan had evolved from Vulgar Latin on both sides of the eastern end of the Pyrenees, as well as the territories of the Roman province of Hispania Tarraconensis to the south. From the 8th century onwards the Catalan counts extended their territory southwards and westwards at the expense of the Muslims, bringing their language with them. This process was given definitive impetus with the separation of the county of Barcelona from the Carolingian Empire in 988. In the 11th century, documents written in macaronic Latin begin to show Catalan elements, with texts written almost completely in Romance appearing by 1080. Old Catalan shared many features with Gallo-Romance, diverging from Old Occitan between the 11th and 14th centuries. During the 11th and 12th centuries the Catalan rulers expanded up to north of the Bro River, and in the 13th century they conquered the land of Valencia and the Balearic Islands. The city of Alghero in Sardinia was repopulated with Catalan speakers in the 14th century. The language also reached Murcia, which became Spanish-speaking in the 15th century. In the Low Middle Ages, Catalan went through a golden age, reaching a peak of maturity and cultural richness. Examples include the work of Majorcan polymath Ramon Llull, the Four Great Chronicles, and the Valencian school of poetry culminating in Orsia's March. By the 15th century, the city of Valencia had become the sociocultural center of the Crown of Aragon, and Catalan was present all over the Mediterranean world. During this period, the royal chancery propagated a highly standardized language. Catalan was widely used as an official language in Sicily until the 15th century, and in Sardinia until the 17th. During this period, the language was what Costa Carreras terms one of the great languages of medieval Europe. Martorell's outstanding novel of chivalry Tyrant Low Blanc shows a transition from medieval to Renaissance values, something that can also be seen in Mucha's work. The first book produced with movable type in the Iberian Peninsula was printed in Catalan. Start of the modern era, with the union of the crowns of Castile and Aragon, the use of Spanish gradually became more prestigious. Starting in the 16th century, Catalan literature experienced a decline, the language came under the influence of Spanish, and the urban and literary classes became bilingual. French state, 18th to 20th centuries. With the Treaty of the Pyrenees, Spain ceded the northern part of Catalonia to France, and soon thereafter the local Catalan varieties came under the influence of French, which in 1700 became the sole official language of the region. Shortly after the French Revolution, the French First Republic prohibited official use of, and enacted discriminating policies against, the non-standard languages of France, such as Catalan, Alsatian, Breton, Occitan, Flemish, and Basque. Following the French capture of Algeria, that region saw several waves of Catalan-speaking settlers. People from the Spanish Alacant province settled around Oran, whereas Algiers received immigration from northern Catalonia and Menorca. Their speech was known as Patuit. By 1911, the number of Catalan speakers was around 100,000. After the declaration of independence of Algeria in 1962, almost all the Catalan speakers fled to northern Catalonia or Alacant. Nowadays, France only recognizes French as an official language. Nevertheless, on December 10, 2007, the General Council of the Pyrénées-Orientales officially recognized Catalan as one of the languages of the department and seeks to further promote it in public life and education. Spanish state, 18th to 20th centuries. The decline of Catalan continued in the 16th and 17th centuries. The Catalan defeat in the War of Spanish Succession initiated a series of measures imposing the use of Spanish in all spheres of public life. These included preaching, theatre, criminal courts, education, legal documents, and on the telephone. In the 20th century these measures were mostly repealed and supplemented by others, like the prohibition of teaching Catalan, or sanctions for refusing to use Spanish. In parallel, however, the 19th century saw a Catalan literary revival, which has continued up to the present day. This period starts with Ribau's Ode to the Homeland, followed in the second half of the 19th century, and the early 20th by the work of Verdaguer, Oller, and Guimerà. In the 19th century, the region of Carche, in the province of Murcia was repopulated with Catalan speakers from the land of Valencia. The Second Spanish Republic saw a brief period of tolerance, with most restrictions against Catalan being lifted. However, the establishment of the Francoist dictatorship led to a total ban on the language in 1940. despite some gradual relaxations allowing the publication of some books and magazines, Catalan was excluded from all public institutions until the adoption of the 1978 Constitution. Present day, since the Spanish transition to democracy, Catalan has been institutionalized as an official language, language of education, and language of mass media, all of which have contributed to its increased prestige. In Catalonia, there is no parallel of a large, bilingual, European, non-state speech community. The teaching of Catalan is mandatory in all schools, and it is not possible to use Spanish for studying in the public education system of Catalonia. There is also some intergenerational shift towards Catalan. In Andorra, Catalan has always been the sole official language. Since the promulgation of the 1993 Constitution, several Andorranization policies have been enforced, like Catalan medium education. On the other hand, there are several language shift processes currently taking place. In northern Catalonia, Catalan has followed the same trend as the other minority languages of France, with most of its native speakers being 60 or older. Catalan is studied as a foreign language by 30% of the primary education students, and by 15% of the secondary. The Cultural Association La Bressola promotes a network of community-run schools engaged in Catalan language immersion programs. In the Alicante province, Catalan is being replaced by Spanish, and in Alghero by Italian. There are also well-ingrained diglossic attitudes against Catalan in the Valencian Community, Ibiza, and to a lesser extent, in the rest of the Balearic Islands. Classification and relationship with other Romance languages. The ascription of Catalan to the Occitano-Romance branch of Gallo-Romance languages is not shared by all linguists, particularly those from the Castilian sphere, like many copyrighted as Pidal. According to Paya-Barsi, its specific classification is as follows: Romance languages, Italo-Western languages, Western Romance languages, Gallo-Iberian languages, Gallo-Romance languages, Occitano-Romance languages, Catalan language. Catalan bears varying degrees of similarity to the linguistic varieties subsumed under the cover term Occitan language. Thus, as it should be expected from closely related languages, Catalan today shares many traits with other Romance languages. Relationship with other Western Romance languages, Catalan shares many traits with the other neighboring Romance languages. However, despite being mostly situated in the Iberian Peninsula, Catalan has marked differences with the Ibero-Romance group in terms of pronunciation, grammatical, and especially vocabulary, showing instead its closest affinity with Occitan and to a lesser extent Gallo-Romance. According to Ethnologue, the lexical similarity between Catalan and other Romance languages is 87% with Italian, 85% with Portuguese and Spanish, 76% with Latin, 75% with Sardinian, and 73% with Romanian. During much of its history, and especially during the Francoist dictatorship, the Catalan language has often been degraded as a mere dialect of Spanish. This view, based on political and ideological considerations, has no linguistic validity. Spanish and Catalan have important differences in the sound system, lexicon, and other less grammatical aspects, which puts the latter many times closer to Occitan. There is evidence that, at least from the AD 2nd century, the vocabulary and phonology of Roman Tarraconensis was different from the rest of Roman Hispania. Differentiation has arisen generally because Spanish, Asturian, and Gallico-Portuguese share certain peripheral archaisms and innovatory regionalisms, while Catalan has a shared history with the Western Romance innovative core, especially Occitan. The Germanic superstrate has had different outcomes in Spanish and Catalan. For example, Catalan fang mud, and roster to roast, of Germanic origin, contrast with Spanish lodo and asar, of Latin origin. Whereas Catalan filos a spinning wheel, and pulse temple, of Latin origin, contrast with Spanish ruica and sen, of Germanic origin. The same happens with Arabic loanwords. Thus, Catalan alphabet a large earthenware jar, and rajalatil, of Arabic origin, contrast with Spanish tinaja and taja, of Latin origin. Whereas Catalan oli oil, and a live olive, of Latin origin, contrast with Spanish ʻkætəlæn and ʻkətəゥ. However, the Arabic element in Spanish is generally much more prevalent. Situated between two large linguistic blocks, Catalan has many unique lexical choices, such as an iora to miss somebody, a pavagar to calm down somebody, or abuse to reject. Geographic distribution, Catalan-speaking territories. These territories are sometimes referred to as the Porços Catalans, a denomination based on cultural affinity and common heritage, that has also had a subsequent political interpretation but no official status. Various interpretations of the term may include some or all of these regions. Number of speakers. The number of persons known to be fluent in Catalan varies depending on the sources used. A 2004 language study did not indicate the total number of speakers, but showed a total estimate of €9.5 million, by matching the percentage of speakers to the population of each area where Catalan is spoken. The website of the Generalitat de Catalunya estimated that as of 2004 there were 9,118,882 speakers of Catalan. These figures only reflect potential speakers. Today it is the native language of only 35.6% of the Catalan population. According to Ethnologue, Languages of the World, ed. 17, Catalan had a total of 7.2 million native speakers in 2010, and 5 million second-language speakers in 1994. The most important social characteristic of the Catalan language is that all the areas where it is spoken are bilingual in practice, together with the French language in Roussillon, with Italian in Alghero, with Spanish and French in Andorra and with Spanish in the rest of the territories. 1. The number of people who understand Catalan includes those who can speak it. 2. Figures relate to all self-declared capable speakers, not just native speakers. Level of knowledge of the Catalan language, % of the population 15-year-old and older. Social use, % of the population 15-year-old and older. Native language. Phonology. The Catalan phonology varies depending on the dialect. Notable features include, marked contrast of the vowel pairs /e/ and /eo/, like in other Western Romance languages, except Spanish. Lack of nasalized vowels, unlike Portuguese or French. Lack of diphthongization of Latin shorter, angstrom, like in Galician and Portuguese, and unlike French, Spanish and Italian. Abundance of diphthongs containing, like in Galician and Portuguese. In contrast with other Romance languages, Catalan has many monosyllabic words, and those ending in a wide variety consonants and some consonant clusters. Also, Catalan has final obstruent devoicing, thus featuring many couplets like amic, male friend versus amiga. Central Catalan is considered the standard pronunciation of the language. The descriptions below are mostly for this variety. For the differences in pronunciation of the different dialects, see the section Pronunciation of Dialects in this article. Vowels. Catalan has inherited the typical vowel system of Vulgar Latin, with 7 stressed phonemes, /a-e-i-e-o-u/, a common feature in Western Romance, except Spanish. Balearic has also instances of stressed. Dialects differ in the different degrees of vowel reduction, and the incidence of the pair /e/. In Central Catalan, unstressed vowels reduced to 3, /ae/, e unregistered trademark. /oeu/u remains distinct. The other dialects have different vowel reduction processes. Consonants. The consonant system of Catalan is rather conservative, shared with most modern Western Romance languages. Has a velarized and allophone in syllable coda position in most dialects. However, is velar irrespective of position in Eastern dialects like Majorcan and Standard Eastern Catalan. Occurs in Balearic, Algherese, Standard Valencian and some areas in southern Catalonia. It has merged with elsewhere. Voiced obstruents undergo final obstruent devoicing, p, t, k. Voiced stops become lenited to approximants in syllable onsets, after continuance, I², a degree, e#. Exceptions include after-lateral consonants, and after. In coda position, these sounds are realized as stops, except in some Valencian dialects where they are linited. There is some confusion in the literature about the precise phonetic characteristics of. Some sources describe them as post-alveolar. Others as back-alveolo-palatal, implying that the characters a euro would be more accurate. However, in all literature only the characters for palato-alveolar affricates and fricatives are used, even when the same sources use a euro for other languages like Polish and Chinese. The distribution of the two rhotics and closely parallels that of Spanish. Between vowels, the two contrast, but they are otherwise in complementary distribution. In the onset, r appears unless preceded by a consonant. Dialects vary in regards to rhotics in the coda, with Western Catalan generally featuring e3/4 and Central Catalan dialects featuring a weakly trilled r, unless it precedes a vowel initial word in the same prosodic unit, in which case e3/4 appears. In careful speech, may be geminated. Geminated may also occur. Some analyze into vocalic r as the result of gemination of a single rhotic phoneme. This is similar to the common analysis of Spanish and Portuguese rhotics. Phonological evolution. Dialects. Overview. The dialects of the Catalan language feature a relative uniformity, especially when compared to other Romance languages. Both in terms of vocabulary, semantics, syntax, morphology, and phonology. Mutual intelligibility between dialects is very high, estimates ranging from 90% to 95%. The only exception is the isolated idiosyncratic Algherese dialect. Catalan is split into two major dialectal blocks, Eastern Catalan, and Western Catalan. The main difference lies in the treatment of unstressed a and e, which have merged to in Eastern dialects, but which remain distinct as and in Western dialects. There are a few other differences in pronunciation, verbal morphology, and vocabulary. Western Catalan comprises the two dialects of Northwestern Catalan and Valencian. The Eastern Bloc comprises four dialects: Central Catalan, Balearic, Roussellanese, and Algherese. Each dialect can be further subdivided in several subdialects. Central Catalan is considered the standard pronunciation of the language and has the highest number of speakers. It is spoken in the densely populated regions of the Barcelona province, the eastern half of the province of Tarragona, and most of the province of Girona. Pronunciation. Vowels. Catalan has inherited the typical vowel system of Vulgar Latin, with 7 stressed phonemes, /a-e-i-e-o-u/, a common feature in Western Romance, except Spanish. Balearic has also instances of stressed. Dialects differ in the different degrees of vowel reduction, and the incidence of the pair /e/. In Eastern Catalan, unstressed vowels reduced to 3, /a-e/, e unregistered trademark. /oeu/u remains distinct. There are a few instances of unreduced e, o in some words. Algherese has lowered e unregistered trademark to a. In Majorcan, unstressed vowels reduced to 4, /ae/ follow the Eastern Catalan reduction pattern. However /oe/ reduced to o, with remaining distinct, as in Western Catalan. In Western Catalan, unstressed vowels reduced to 5, /e/e, /oe/o, /aui/ remain distinct. This reduction pattern, inherited from Proto-Romance, is also found in Italian and Portuguese. Some Western dialects present further reduction or vowel harmony in some cases. Central, Western, and Balearic differ in the lexical incidence of stressed and. Usually, words within Central Catalan correspond to in Balearic and in Western Catalan. Words within Balearic almost always have in Central and Western Catalan as well. As a result, Central Catalan has a much higher incidence of consonants. Morphology. In verbs, first-person present indicative desinence is e, or o. For example, pal, tem, sent. Palo, temo, sento. In verbs, first-person present indicative desinence is o, iora in all conjugations. For example, parlo, par, parli. In verbs, the inchoative desinences are isk/ixo, ix, ixon, iska. In verbs, the inchoative desinences are iixo, ix, iixon, ixi. In nouns and adjectives, maintenance of medieval plurals in proper oxytone words. For example, Hector squared men's men, jar cubed men's youth. In nouns and adjectives, loss of medieval plurals in proper oxytone words. For example, Holmes' men, Jove's youth. Vocabulary. Despite its relative lexical unity, the two dialectal blocks of Catalan show some differences in word choices. Any lexical divergence within any of the two groups can be explained as an archaism. Also, usually Central Catalan acts as an innovative element. Standards. Standard Catalan, virtually accepted by all speakers, is mostly based on Eastern Catalan, which is the most widely used dialect. Nevertheless, the standards of Valencia and the Balearics admit alternative forms, mostly traditional ones, which are not current in Eastern Catalonia. The most notable difference between both standards is some tonic a accentuation, for instance, Franca s, Angla s a Franca copyright s, Angla copyright s. Nevertheless, AVL's standard keeps the grave accent a w, without pronouncing this a as, in some words like, que, or Valencia. Other divergences include the use of a tla in some words instead of a tlla like in amtla amala, ispatla ispala, the use of elided demonstratives in the same level as reinforced ones, or the use of many verbal forms common in Valencian, and some of these common in the rest of Western Catalan do, like subjunctive mood or inchoative conjugation in ix at the same level as ix, or the priority use of e morpheme in first-person singular in present indicative, jo compre instead of jo compro. In the Balearic Islands, IEC's standard is used but adapted for the Balearic dialect by the University of the Balearic Islands as philological section. In this way, for instance, IEC says it is correct writing cantum as much as cantum, but the university says that the priority form in the Balearic Islands must be cantum in all fields. Another feature of the Balearic standard is the non-ending in the first-person singular present indicative, jo compr, jo tem, jo dorm. In Alghero, the IEC has adapted its standard to the Algherese dialect. In this standard one can find, among other features, the definite article lo instead of l, special possessive pronouns and determinants la mia, lo su la sue, lo tu la tue, and so on, the use of v in the imperfect tense in all conjugations, cantava, creaxiva, ligiva. The use of many archaic words, usual words in Algherese, manco instead of mens, calquiu instead of alga, qualquala instead of quincna, and so on. And the adaptation of weak pronouns. In 2011, the Aragonese government passed a decree for the establishment of a new language regulator of Catalan in La Franja. The new entity, designated as Academia Aragonesa del Català, shall allow a facultative education in Catalan and a standardization of the Catalan language in La Franja. Status of Valencian. The vast majority of linguists hold that Catalan and Valencian are the same language, a position that is also shared by the majority of Valencian scholars. The official regulating body of the language of the Valencian Community, the Academy of the Valencian Language, also declares the linguistic unity between Valencian and Catalan. Valencian is classified as a Western dialect, along with the northwestern varieties spoken in Western Catalonia. The various forms of Catalan and Valencian are mutually intelligible. The AVL, created by the Valencian government, is in charge of dictating the official rules governing the use of Valencian, and its standard is based on that of the Institute of Catalan Studies. Currently, the majority of people who write in Valencian use this standard. Despite the position of the official organizations, which is also shared with the residents of Catalonia, the majority of Valencian speakers consider their language unique and different from Catalan. This position is promoted by people who do not use Valencian regularly. There is a minority of scholars who defend the position of the Royal Academy of Valencian Culture, which uses for Valencian an independent standard from Catalan. this clash of opinions has sparked much controversy. For example, during the drafting of the European Constitution in 2004, the Spanish government supplied the EU with translations of the text into Basque, Galician, Catalan, and Valencian, but the latter two were identical. Vocabulary, word choices. Despite its relative lexical unity, the two dialectal blocks of Catalan show some differences in word choices. Any lexical divergence within any of the two groups can be explained as an archaism. Also, usually Central Catalan acts as an innovative element. Literary Catalan allows the use of words from different dialects, except those of very restricted use. However, from the 19th century onwards, there is a tendency of favoring words of northern dialects in detriment of others, even though nowadays there is a greater freedom of choice. Latin and Greek learned words. Like other languages, Catalan has a large list of learned words from Greek and Latin. This process started very early, and one can find such examples in Ramon Llull's work. On the 14th and 15th centuries, Catalan had a number of Greco-Latin learned words much superior to other Romance languages, as it can be attested for example in Roes de Corola's writings. Word formation. The process of word derivation in Catalan follows the same principles as the other Romance languages, where agglutination is common. Many times, several affixes are appended to a pre-existing lexeme, and some sound alternations can occur, for example electric, unregistered trademark electric versus electricitat, unregistered trademark la unregistered trademark tricitat. Prefixes are usually appended to verbs, for as in prever. There is greater regularity in the process of word compounding, where one can find compounded words as much as in English. Writing system. Catalan uses the Roman alphabet, with some added symbols and digraphs. The Catalan orthography is systematic and largely phonologically based. Grammar. The grammar of Catalan is similar to other Romance languages. Features include, use of definite and indefinite articles. Nouns, adjectives, pronouns, and articles are inflected for gender and number. There is no case inflection, except in pronouns. Verbs are highly inflected for person, number, tense, aspect, and mood. There are no modal auxiliaries. Word order is freer than in English. Gender and number inflection. In gender inflection, the most notable feature is the disapparition of the typical masculine suffix o. Thus, the alternance of o/a has been replaced by a/a. There are only a few exceptions, like minso-minsa. Many not completely predictable morphological alternations may occur, like affrication boid-boja versus legaltja, loss of n, plaplana versus segan-segona, final obstruent devoicing, sentit-sentida versus did-dita. Catalan has few suppletive couplets, like Italian and Spanish, and unlike French. Thus, Catalan has noi-noia and gall-gallina, whereas French has gara section on fill and cockpool. There is a tendency to abandon traditionally gender-invariable adjectives in favor of marked ones, something prevalent in Occitan and French. Thus, one can find bulent-bulentra in contrast with traditional bulent-bulent. Like in the other Western Romance languages, the main plural expression is the suffix s, which may create morphological alternations akin the ones found in gender inflection, albeit more rarely. The most important one is the addition of o before certain consonant groups, a phonetic phenomenon that does not affect feminine forms, l pols eels polsos versus la pols la pols. Determiners. The inflection of determinatives is complex, especially because of the high number of elisions, but is similar to the neighboring languages. Catalan has more contractions of preposition plus article than Spanish, like dels, but not as many as Italian. Central Catalan has abandoned almost completely unstressed possessives in favor of constructions of article plus stressed forms, a feature shared with Italian. Personal pronouns. The morphology of Catalan personal pronouns is complex, especially in unstressed forms, which are numerous. Features include the neuter gender and the great degree of freedom when combining different unstressed pronouns. The Catalan pronouns exhibit ta-v distinction, like all other Romance languages. This feature implies the use of a different set of second-person pronouns for formality. This flexibility allows Catalan to use extraposition extensively, much more than French or Spanish. Thus, Catalan can have "my recommanaron," whereas in French one must say "ils m'ont recommandé copyright Louis," and Spanish "me recomendaron a copyright L." This allows the placement of almost any nominal term as a sentence topic, without having to use so often the passive voice, or identifying the direct object with a preposition. Verbs. Like all the Romance languages, Catalan verbal inflection is more complex than the nominal. Suffixation is omnipresent, whereas morphological alternations play a secondary role. Vowel alternances are active, as well as infixation and suppletion. However, these are not as productive as in Spanish, and are mostly restricted to irregular verbs. The Catalan verbal system is basically common to all Western Romance, except that most dialects have replaced the analytic indicative perfect with a periphrastic form of ana plus infinitive. Catalan verbs are traditionally divided into three conjugations, with vowel themes a, e, I, the last two being split into two subtypes. However, this division is mostly theoretical. Only the first conjugation is nowadays productive, whereas the third is semi-productive. The verbs of the second conjugation are fewer than 100, and it is not possible to create new ones, except by compounding. Syntax. The grammar of Catalan follows the general pattern of Western Romance languages. The primary word order is SVO. Catalan names. In the Spanish state, every person has officially two surnames, one of which is the father's first surname and the other is the mother's first surname. The law contemplates the possibility of joining both surnames with the Catalan conjunction I. Sample text, selected text from Manuel de Pedrolo's 1970 novel Un home fou reciutat. Catalan loanwords in the English language, see also. Organizations, Institut d'Estudis Catalans, Acadèmia Valenciana de la Lingua, Òmnium Cultural, Plataforma per la Lingua, Varieties, Western Catalan, Eastern Catalan, Central Catalan, Balearic, Valencian, Northern Catalan, Algherese, Other, Languages of Catalonia, Languages of France, Languages of Italy, Languages of Spain, Norms de Castella cubed, Pompa Fabra, References. Bibliography, Acadèmia Valenciana de la Lingua, Dictamen sobre els principis i criteris per a la defensa de la denominació cubed i l'entitat del Valencià, Bonet, Eulalia. Mascara cubed, Joan. On the representation of contrasting rhotics. In Martinez Gil, Fernando. Issues in the phonology and morphology of the major Iberian languages. Georgetown University Press. ISBN A978-87840-647-0. Burke, Ulrich Ralph. A History of Spain from the Earliest Times to the Death of Ferdinand the Catholic. Longmans, Green, and Co. PA 154, Carbonell, Joan F. Listery, Joachim. Catalan. Journal of the International Phonetic Association 22, 53 doi, 10.1017 per second 0025100300004618. Carbonell, Joan F. Listery, Joachim. Catalan. Handbook of the International Phonetic Association, a guide to the usage of the International Phonetic Alphabet. Cambridge, Cambridge University Press PPA 54 €55. ISBN A978-0-521-63751-0. Carbonell, Joan F. Listery, Joachim. Catalan. Handbook of the International Phonetic Association, a guide to the usage of the International Phonetic Alphabet. Cambridge, Cambridge University Press PPA 61 €65. ISBN A0-521-63751-1. Collins English Dictionary. HarperCollins Publishers 1991. ISBN A0-00-433286-5 Cola Cubden, Gemma. El las ๊kētəlæn dins la Romania. Biblioteca Lingua 1/4 Estica Catalana. Valencia, Universitat de Valencia. ISBN A84-370-1327-5 Costa Carreras, Joan. Yates, Alon. The Architect of Modern Catalan, Selected Writings Pompeu Fabra. Institut d'Estudis Catalans and Universitat Pompeu Fabra and John Benjamins BV ppA 6/7. ISBN A978-9272-3264-9 Fabra, Pompeu. Gramatica Catalana. Barcelona, Institut d'Estudis Catalans a, Feldhausen, Inco. Sentential form and prosodic structure of Catalan. John Benjamins BV. ISBN A978-9272-5551 8 Ferrauta a Alcatala. Enciclopèdia Catalana Volume 4. Barcelona, Enciclopèdia Catalana ppA 628/639. ISBN A84-85-194-04-7 Gallego, Rosa. Sanz, Juan Carlos. Diccionario Acal del Color. Acal. ISBN A978-84-460-1083-8 Garca Venro, Maximiano. Historia del Nacionalismo Catalán, tua edisa Cubden. Ed. Nacional. Retrieved April 25, 2010. Gove, Philip Babcock, Ed Webster's Third New International Dictionary. Merriam-Webster, Incorporated. ISBN A3-8290-5292-8 Guinot, Enric. Ils fundadors del Reino de Valencia, Replacement, Antroponomia y Lingua a la Valencia medieval. Valencia, ๊kētəlæn. ISBN A8475025,919 Holder, Joseph Copyright. Catalan. Routledge. PA 368. ISBN A978-0-415-05498-0 Judd, Jacob. Problèmes de gare Copyrightographie linguistique romaine. Paris, Revue de linguistique romaine ppA 181 €182 Koyakov, Yuri. Atlas of Romance Languages. Moscow, Leader Cubed, Mikla Urangel. 26. The Independent Standardization of Valencia, From Official Use to Underground Resistance. Handbook of Language and Ethnic Identity of a Success-Failure Continuum in Language and Ethnic Identity Efforts. New York, Oxford University Press ppA 336 €348. ISBN A978-0-19-539245-6 Lauret, Maria Rosa. The Phonological Role of Paradigms, The Case of Insular Catalan. Inorga, Julie. Clements, J. Clancy. Vance, Barbara. Contemporary Approaches to Romance Linguistics, Selected Papers from the 33rd Linguistic Symposium on Romance Languages. Amsterdam and Philadelphia, John Benjamins. PA 278 doi, 10.1353/LAN. 2007.0098 Marfani, Marta. Ils Menorquins de Guerrilla. Barcelona, Abadia de Montserrat. ISBN A84-8415-366-5 Melcher, Vicente. Branchadel, Albert. ๊kētəlæn, Una Lengua de Europa para Compartir. Balearic, Universitat Autis Squared Norma de Barcelona. PA 71. ISBN A84-490-2299-1 Moll, Fransque de Gramatica Histra Squared Rica Catalana. Universitat de Valencia. PA 47. ISBN A978-84-370-6412-3 Moran, Joseph. Vegetables de Lingua 1/4 Estica Histra Squared Rica Catalana. Barcelona, Publicacions del Badia de Montserrat ppA 55 €93. ISBN A84-7826-568-6 Moran, Joseph. Estudis d'esta Squadria de la Lingua Catalana. Barcelona, Publicacions del Badia de Montserrat ppA 37 €38. ISBN A84-8415-672-9 Paget, J. Systemic Contrast and Catalan Rhotics. University of California, Santa Cia UZP =ʻkәtəlæn, Rickersons, Daniel. Phonetica I Phonologia. Enciclopedia Catalana, Rickersons, Daniel. Fontdevila, Maria Dolores. Pilara S. Velarization degree and co-articulatory resistance for in Catalan and German. Journal of Phonetics 23, 288 doi, 10.1016 per second 0095-4470, 95, 80031 exa, Rickersons, Daniel. Fonetica descriptiva del català usage de caracterització cube de la pronuncia del vocalisme y el consonantisme català al segle XX. Barcelona, Institut d'Estudis Catalans ppA 75 €76,128 €129. ISBN A9784472833128 Rickersons, Daniel. Pilara S., Maria Dolores. De la Fonética a la Phonologia, les consonants y assimilations consonantiques del català. Barcelona, Editorial Ariel. ISBN A978-84-344-2884-3 Rickersons, Daniel. Espinosa, Anina. Articulatory, Positional and Co-articulatory Characteristics for Clear and Dark, Evidence from Two Catalan Dialects. Journal of the International Phonetic Association 35, 1, 20 doi, 10.1017 per second 0025100305001878 Rickersons, Daniel. Espinosa, Anina. An electropalatographic and acoustic study of affricates and fricatives in two Catalan dialects. Journal of the International Phonetic Association 37, 145 doi, 10.1017 per second 0025100306002829 Rica, Martada. Volume 1. Histra Squadria de la Literatura Catalana. Barcelona, Ariel A., Sla Paragraphsa, Reina. Die Romanischen Sprachen. Munich, C.H. Becker, Swan, Michael. Learner English, A Teacher's Guide to Interference and Other Problems, Volume 1. Cambridge University Press, Thomas, L.W. The Resurgence of Catalan. Hispania 45, 43 €8 doi, 10.2307/337523 Wheeler, Max. Yates, Alon. Dols, Niccolò. Catalan, A Comprehensive Grammar. London, Routledge, Wheeler, Max. 5. Catalan. The Romance Languages. London, Routledge ppA 170 €208. ISBN A0-415-16417-6 Wheeler, Max. The Phonology of Catalan. Oxford, Oxford University Press. PA 54. ISBN A978-0-19-925814-7 Wheeler, Max. Encyclopedia of Language and Linguistics Wheeler, Max. Catalan. Concise Encyclopedia of Languages of the World. Oxford, Elsevier ppA 188 €192. ISBN A978-0-08-0877774-7 Vinnie, Joan. Griges de Gaita de San, Senyor de Caboet. Homenatge Arthur Terry. Barcelona, Publicacions del Badia de Montserrat ppA 9 €18. ISBN A84-7826-894-4. Vinnie, Joan. Petiatals lingua 1/4 stick del domini català. 1 and 2. Barcelona, Institut d'Estudis Catalans. PA 51. ISBN A978-84-7283-942-7. External links, institutions, Concessi per la normalizzazione cubed lingua 1/4 stica, Institut d'Estudis Catalans, Accademia Valenciana de la Lingua, Secretaria de Politica Lingua 1/4 stica de la Generalitat de Catalunya, about the Catalan language, Grammatica de la Lingua Catalana, verbs Catalan and its dialects, monolingual dictionaries, Diccionari de la Lingua Catalana, from the Institut d'Estudis Catalans, Gran Diccionari de la Lingua Catalana, from Enciclopèdia Catalana, Diccionari Català Valencia Balia del Cavarai. Moll, Diccionari Valencia Online, Diccionari Invers de la Lingua Catalana, bilingual and multilingual dictionaries, Diccionari de la Lingua Catalana Multilingual 1/4 from Enciclopèdia Catalana, DACCO Open Source, Collaborative Dictionary, Webster's Online Dictionary, the Rossetti Edition, Optimat, Catalan Language Consults, Dictionary and Thesaurus of Generalitat of Catalonia, Automated Translation Systems, Traductor Automated, Online Translations of Text and Web Pages, SysHiTRA Automated, Online Translations of Text and Web Pages, Apertium.org. Apertium translates text, documents or web pages, online or offline, between Catalan and Aranese, English, Esperanto, French, Occitan, Portuguese and Spanish. Translate.google.com online. Translations Catalan English and several languages, phrasebooks, Catalan phrasebook on Wikivoyage, basic Catalan phrases, learning resources, Catalan Swadesh list of basic vocabulary words, from Wiktionary's Swadesh list appendix, learn Catalan online with volunteers, ʻkәtəlæn, set of electronic resources for learning the Catalan language and culture, learn Catalan. An introduction for the Catalonia-bound traveler, online Catalan resources, Parlacat, Catalan language online encyclopedia, Enciclopèdia Catalana.